Hey, this is Mandy and Kim with nextTalk, where we are passionate about keeping kids safe in the digital world.
Did you know we have tens of thousands of listeners in 60 countries? It's truly amazing.
Crazy. Only God.
And as a nonprofit, everything we do at nextTalk is supported by people just like you.
Be a part of changing the culture of conversation in your home and around the globe by making a donation today.
Go to nexttalk.org and click on Give and check out our resources while you're there.
More than cyber parenting. Conversations to connect. We did a show on TikTok a while back. I think it was 2019. The app was relatively new back then, and we immediately knew it was going to be a popular one.
Oh, yeah. Anything with quick videos and, cats dancing, it's going to be popular.
Well, any kind of dancing, right?
Yes.
Music, you put music and dancing together, you got happy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's a fun app.
Well, and I actually love to see, I've seen parents, moms and daughters do little dances together. I just think it could be used for a great bonding time. It could have a lot of bad content too that we need to be aware of. And I will tell you, in my personal opinion, so I have a daughter. She is almost 17, and we've walked through a lot of social media platforms one at a time. First it was Instagram, then it was Snapchat, then it was Twitter. We've really walked through the platforms. She got TikTok last because of all the content. There was so much content there. And I will tell you, out of all of them, it's affected her the most. I feel like it's the most addictive. I haven't quite put my finger on why. And I've been asking my kids and talking to other moms, just trying to figure it out. What is different about this app? And on the influence show that we did recently, I told you about a parent who said, her 15-year-old daughter said, I'm a totally different person than I was 6 months ago since you let me have TikTok. It's opened me up to new ideas and thoughts that I didn't even know was out there. I mean, that's alarming.
That really surprised me when you shared that story. Yes, TikTok seems very addictive. We've experienced it in our own home. My husband doesn't do social media, and yet when he downloaded TikTok, because he likes to know what the kids are doing on the campus where he's an administrator, and that was a huge one. Even he was like, oh my goodness, there's something different about this platform. It's something we wanted to delve into and do another show on for a couple of different reasons. There are some new features that we want to share with you. But as we prepared for the show, we also thought it was important for you to hear from a teenager who's on this platform and who can share her perspective. And so Mandy sat down with her daughter to give us a little insight.
You told me the other day, I think it's super addictive more than the other ones. Why do you think so?
Of course. So TikTok is incredibly addictive. Most of the videos that are on the platform are 15 seconds to a minute. So you can be scrolling on there and see hundreds of videos and be on there for hours without even realizing it. It's so engaging. We have the likes and the comments, and even just I've spent a good amount of time. If I find a video I like, just scrolling through the comments, seeing what people are saying that's funny or stuff that I agree with. I have a lot of friends that will just send TikToks to each other. Not only is it just a fun place to go, but I feel like TikTok is also a cultural, you feel like you need to be on there to know what's going on in the world, which sounds silly, but in a teenager's, society, we feel the need to know what's going on and feel included in the community.
You told me the other day, trends are made on TikTok.
Absolutely.
That's what you meant by that. You need to know what the trends are in the world, and that's how you do by being on TikTok.
Yeah, I would say TikTok is absolutely where trends are born, and they're changing every day, whether it be fashion or comedy or music, everything.
Well, and on our last show, we talked about the aesthetics on TikTok, which is your trend, your style kind of thing, and how that is just viral and how it boxes you in. We did a show on influence that you can go listen to about how it's not only just your clothing style, but it can impact your political beliefs, your sexuality, all sorts of different things to kind of label you a certain way.
Absolutely. Especially with whether fashion. Obviously, fashion is ever changing. I think the main difference and the reason TikTok is so influential is because on Instagram, you have to follow people to see what they're posting, what they're wearing, what they believe. And on TikTok, you just have your For You page, and that is people all over the world, sharing what they believe about things. And, that could be a great thing. You're getting exposed to different perspectives and gaining an ability to, like, I don't know, see different sides of issues or just seeing different sides of
But this is a public account. So if you're a private account, you're seeing less.
No. You can put parental restrictions on. You did that a few months ago and it did nothing. It took away my follower page, actually. So you have a For You page and a following page. Your following page is just videos of people that you follow. Your For You page is videos that TikTok recommends, and they collect your data. They see what videos you like, how long you spend watching each video. And they put that, together and find videos that they think will keep you watching longer. It's a system.
Thank you. This is so helpful because they do have new parental controls, but we don't know how much they're actually filtering. And so we want parents to be aware of that. And then Kim and I have some other stuff that we want to talk about with TikTok. So we're going to dive into that, but I appreciate your information and you taking the time to explain it to us from a teen perspective.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so thankful that my daughter is willing to talk with me and answer my questions and enlighten me. Y'all saw, I didn't know the difference between a private and public account and if that affected the newsfeed. She's continually teaching me. And that's a perfect example of how we always want to be asking our kids, show me how this works. Tell me about this, because it helps us understand their online world better. But I will tell you, I thought I was prepared for this show, really well. I'd done a lot of research. I'm on TikTok, like all the things. And as I was listening to my daughter, I had a revelation, like a light bulb moment. And that was this. She said, the content is different on TikTok because it's not who you follow. It's TikTok determining what videos show up on your feed. On Instagram, she follows people she knows in real life. She follows pastors, good influencers that I've, suggested she follow. And we have a little bit of control over their content. Now, there's still ads, there's still promotions on there. But for the most part, it's not Instagram telling her what to look at. Mm-hmm. It would be more like Instagram's Discover section. Yes. Or Snapchat's Discover section, which when my kids first get social media, they're not allowed to look at that. Like it's only the people you follow and I trust them. I'm like, that's where the bad content is. And you could be exposed to things you're not ready for yet. But the way she said it's like taking that Discover section and putting it on your newsfeed.
Right. It's like they are determining who you are based on a couple of videos you've watched. You don't choose who you follow. They do.
In preparation for the show, I also just read an article on Mashable. The title was something like this, like TikTok knew I was bisexual before I did.
Yes.
And it was all about, and we talked about this on the Influence show, aesthetics, like cottagecore and that kind of thing. I like that kind of stuff. So it was feeding me bisexual content because that's who so we've got an app now telling our kids who they are. We got a problem.
We really need to clarify that because it's such a huge thing and so many kids are on TikTok. This is one, as far as we know, the most popular app that does this, in that whatever your kids watch, even if it's just one video, that will determine content that's fed to them. And these short videos that you just scroll as long as they're sitting on the app, sometimes for hours. And so you can imagine that's got to influence them.
So, and on our Influence show, this is how this all ties together. We were talking about these aesthetics and how it goes beyond a fashion trend. Mm-hmm. So if you're clicking on cottagecore stuff, then TikTok is saying, okay, this is for the bisexual people and for people who vote this way. So we're going to fill their content with this kind of stuff.
Right.
And kids are curious. So, different things pop up on their For You page and they're like, click it. Well, if they click that video and spend any amount of time watching it, then the algorithm picks it up and then feeds them that continual content. So it becomes like, oh, this is who I am.
Right.
And it just made perfect sense to me because my first exposure to TikTok was back in 2019. And a family contacted nextTalk and they were like, oh my gosh, something's happening. And they had allowed their elementary age daughter to have TikTok on their phone. Now, if you remember, TikTok used to be Musical.ly.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a cute little, dancing app, just like TikTok is. They had a private account and little girl would post innocent dances, nothing sexual, anything like that. This little girl asked her parents to take her account public just so she could get some more comments and interaction with people. And the parents said, no, no, no. And then one day they said, well, you're asking. Thank you so much for asking. We'll try it. And within hours, they got a video back of an old man masturbating to her video.
Gross.
So they contacted me. I downloaded the app that day, started doing research, went to that account. And since then, every time I get on TikTok, there's these crazy sugar daddy, highly sexualized content. But when my daughter downloaded TikTok, it was recipes, artwork, funny dances, like not sexualized. And I couldn't put my finger on it. I was like, why is my TikTok so different than my daughter's TikTok? Like, I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
And literally just when she was speaking just now through that interview, it all came together for me. I can't believe it's taken me this many years to figure it out, but it's they're controlling the content that they're feeding you.
Right. So if I'm remembering correctly, you downloaded TikTok, you checked out this girl's site, and it was within that day that you were fed all of this nasty content, and it has not stopped.
That's what's so weird is that the algorithm started right away. It wasn't like I had been doing research for days and days and days and trying to find sexualized content, inappropriate stuff. It was like an immediate thing when I downloaded it. It was the eeriest thing. And I didn't think anything of it. I just thought TikTok is a bad app. But then I would talk to my friends and they're like, I love it. This is the and they would send me their TikToks. And I'm like, why are they so fun? And mine are so dark. Like, what is wrong with me?
For me, where I go is that our kids could come across just one thing or look at just one thing, even by accident, and that will change their TikTok feed forever. And because TikTok is so addictive and the videos are so rapid and you see so many in a short amount of time, can you imagine what that's doing to their brains?
It's sending them down a rabbit hole and it's boxing them in and labeling and determining who they are.
Ugh.
And so for this reason, I mean, I'm telling you, I plead with you, and you guys know I'm not anti-tech. Look at all these social media platforms that my kids have, right? Please save this one for when they're older and you can really help them through that. It is scary to me. This one alarms me more than any of the other platforms.
So we've given you our warnings and, shared from a team perspective what's good and what's alarming about this app. But if you're at the point where you've decided to allow your kid to have TikTok, it's always good to use as many tools in your tool belt as you can. And so we want to use this show also to inform you of some new parental controls on TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it to them. They did come out with new parental controls. So you pair up their phone so they can't turn any of the parental restrictions off, which I love. I love that idea. For Instagram, I can be logged into my kids' accounts on my phone. So that's a cool thing. But with TikTok, it's a little different. So parents, you create your own account, your own TikTok account on your phone, and your kids will have their separate account on their phone. And what you're going to do is link them. On your phone, when you're on the parent account, you click on me in the bottom right corner. And then in the top right, there's those three little dots. Always look for that in an app that kind of meets your settings. You can go kind of deeper and figure out, are there any restrictions that I can set here? So click on those three dots and go down to family pairing. Okay. And then you're going to click on add account and then follow the instructions. You will have to have your teenager's phone right next to you. There is a QR code that you'll have to scan. And it'll walk you through what you need to do. But I did it and it was pretty simple to do as long as I had access to both phones. And we tried it. And as you heard with my daughter, she didn't really see a difference in the content that she was getting.
Yeah.
So that's our experience. I would use it. If your kids are on TikTok, set these restrictions, use them for sure.
You've heard us say this before with all apps and social media. With anything, there are loopholes. So you really have to stay connected with your kid, be in their world, know what's going on with their social media presence, and don't take your hands off the wheel. So we've talked a lot about the content on TikTok, and we told you about the new feature with the parental controls, but with any online presence for your kid, we want to have that conversation with you about predators, online strangers, and sex traffickers.
Yeah, I mean, if your kids are interacting online at all, whether it's just Roblox or, Instagram, you need to be having conversations about online strangers. We are seeing grooming, a lot of grooming. We did a show on this specifically on how grooming happens in person and online. You can go listen to that show. And there's also an online manipulation show that's really good that goes into details about how it happens online. But, one of the main things you want to say is if anyone you don't know in real life, ask for your name, address, school, church, anything like that. It's just a red flag alert. Come tell me. It may be nothing. How I've seen TikTok be more influential in this space is, again, the videos. They're just so addictive. And so here's an example. During COVID, everybody's going crazy, stir crazy. And all of a sudden, there were these viral, cute pen pal TikToks. And when I say pen pal, I mean like old school, like handwriting letters. And they would be themes. I mean, think about how mom's scrapbook and put that onto pen pals.
Mm-hmm.
That's what was happening. Like we were making trips to Hobby Lobby to buy the cute little tape and, all the cute little paper. We got a, wax melt for the seal, like all the stuff, all the fun stuff. But these videos were so cute in their aesthetic and all these kids were bored. And so I went to this one, it had hundreds of thousands of views and comments. I mean, it was crazy. And everybody was just putting their address in the comments, like, yeah, I want to be a pen pal.
Crazy.
And it's like they just got caught up in the moment. And I immediately, went to my daughter and I was like, oh my gosh. And she's like, I could totally see how that could happen because it's so fun. Like, I want to do pen pals.
Well, and if you're not having conversations with your kids about things that are okay to post and share, they wouldn't know any different. They share everything. So it would seem completely safe and normal to share your address and location.
Yeah. And my daughter, I mean, she really wanted to get involved with this whole pen pal thing. So we came to a middle ground. I was like, I'm so excited. You want to write letters. I think it's a great way to spend your time during COVID. Like I was praising her for that. But I said, we just can't give our address out to people we don't know, even through a DM or in a comment like this. So who are some families that have moved away or you have friends that are getting ready to start college? Let's get their address. Let's stay in touch with them that way. And that's what we did, like people we knew in real life. But it was just another reminder that they get just swept up in the cute little video and the, oh, so cute, and just give out personal information. This could be very dangerous.
Okay, so we've covered a lot today, but here's a few things for you to remember. TikTok content is different than other social media. TikTok determines all your content on the For You page. Use family pairing parental controls and set restrictions, but realize there are loopholes. Don't take your hands off the wheel. And talk about predators, online strangers, and sex traffickers. Open communication is the first line of defense in keeping our kids safe.